with a pencil, you can actually take on a horde, of course, assuming they come at you one by one and not all. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Okay, so in this video, we're going to go through most of the important points that will help you survive. Let's agree that Project Zomboid can sometimes be unforgiving and cruel. So if it's your first time playing or if you're an unexperienced player, this video might be helpful for you. So first, try to find a blunt weapon, and when you fight, try to knock the zombie and aim for the head. For sharp weapons, it's a different story, since sharp weapons cannot knock, unless, of course, it is an axe. So it's better to have a blunt weapon. But if you do have a sharp weapon, try to stab the zombie when it gets close. Do not swing or poke. It's only going to drop the durability of the weapon, and it's not going to be like efficient. But the good thing about sharp weapons is that you do not have to concern yourself with the damage. Basically, you just stab and it kills the zombie instantly. Of course, this requires a high skill level, like you cannot stab or like the character is not going to be stabbing the zombies right away whenever you attempt. But yes, with a pencil you can actually take on a horde, of course, assuming they come at you one by one and not all together. For the second point, try to find a bag and clothing. There is a difference between armor and clothing, and each part of your body needs covering, so it's not a sum of defense that you need to keep adding up to. It's like each limb and area requires protection. Like, for example, if you get boots that have high scratch and bite defense, of course, it's not going to add up to your chest area. Like, you need a chest or a bulletproof vest for that. Which brings us to the third point. This one is actually going to save you a lot of headache. So, of course, zombies can see and hear you. This goes without saying. So always walk. Like if you wouldn't get bored, actually, it's preferable to be sneaking. I would highly recommend only running when you are 100% confident that there are no zombies nearby. Either that or when you are cornered or followed by a horde, like you have to get away. So basically, it's not going to matter if you end up luring a few more zombies. And aside from sneaking and running, closing the curtains after entering a house, this is critical. Like, I cannot describe how many people actually forget doing that. So again, zombies can see you. Okay, so if there are open curtains, like any zombie is going to be able to spot you right away, like basically as if you were not even inside the house or hidden behind an object. Okay, so aside from the curtains, assuming there are none, you turn off the lights and you stay away from the windows, okay? Running inside the house also makes loud noise. Like, I believe it makes loud noise as if you were running outside of the house. Like, basically, it doesn't matter. On to the fourth point. Always travel light. Like, whether you have a bag or not, of course, if you have a bag, it's going to be a lot easier to like not be overweight. But aside from having a bag, of course, food is essential. Like, this is what most people fill their inventories with. Yes, it is essential, but you will be coming across a lot of food. So just ignore food or avoid picking up food early on. You should be trying to get a plastic bottle and fill it with water whenever possible. Your primary concern now should be getting a hammer, a screwdriver, and a saw. These are the tools that you are going to need, like if you are trying to disassemble a table or a chair, if you are trying to like if you have the locksmith trait and you want to try to lockpick a door. Like basically these are the primary tools that you are going to be using like throughout the entire game. To the next point, confusing the zombies. So many of us eventually ended up with luring so many zombies that we cannot get rid of, and also we cannot loot. So a way out for this is you can lure the zombies to an alarm house, like a house with an alarm. You can break the window or you can open the window. Either ways, it's going to start the alarm. Zombies are going to be attracted to that specific house. So if you can get away without like alerting the horde or like appearing in front of the horde, most likely the horde is going to go after the house and it is completely going to forget about your existence. Aside from that, you can also enter a house and fire a gun. This is also an efficient way. Aside from these two options, you can go through dense trees. Like if the trees are not letting any vision go through, then most likely you will be able to escape the horde. Just be careful when going through trees. If you are not wearing like an armor or anything basically that adds a scratch defense, then you are going to get scratched while going through the trees. And on to the next point. So crafting is your best friend. You can make bags, upgrade bags, you can make weapons, repair or make clothing, basically anything you would require. So crafting is going to provide you with everything starting from A and down to Z. Okay, to the next point, and this one is my favorite. So we have all made that mistake. Basically, this point is about not going back for that specific item or car or even house that we want to settle in. So many times we ended up, like for example, seeing a zombie that has a bag that we want. So we just had to risk it. Like we had to go back and try to kill that zombie and get that bag. And most of the times we did not get that back. Sadly, we ended up dying. So this point is about not going back. Do not risk it. Like unless it is extremely worth it, then do not risk because basically all it takes is one bite. And speaking of settling in, this is the next point. Don't plan on settling for a place before you have a car. And if you find a car, don't use it unless you plan on leaving the town for good. Because the moment that you start the engine, you're going to attract a whole lot of zombies. And speaking of cars, you can find many of the car keys in the car itself, so check the engine and also the glove box. And don't forget to check the trunk for loot. Most of the cars have like weapons or bags at least or medicine in the trunk. Okay, the next point, it's basically when someone joins Project Zomboid for the first time, they are like paranoid the moment that they see a zombie. And of course, your first zombie kill feels like an accomplishment. After a while, it starts feeling like you are basically following the zombies, like you are going after the zombies. So, this point is about fighting is not necessary. Okay, so don't go into extreme fights, especially if you haven't made sure that the path behind you is clear. Like you might be having a fight in front of you with four, five, six zombies, and be surprised that actually zombies made it to your back. Okay, so the last point, and also one that we are all guilty of, shooting with a gun. Okay, so of course, after having your first gun, you're excited, you want to try and shoot a zombie. Well, that is a bait. Like, just don't shoot with a gun. Okay, so the moment you shoot with the gun, you are going to be attracting every single zombie within a mile. And seriously, it's going to be I believe that it's actually worse than like having a house with an alarm ongoing. So yeah, I would recommend not using the gun unless you are cornered, and if so, then I would recommend going all out, like empty the entire clip, just make an opening and escape. Try to run as fast as you can and expect a horde to be coming. Like expect every single zombie within a mile to be going to the place where you fired with the gun. Okay, so when to use the gun? So basically, we start using the guns when we find a silencer. Okay, and for a bonus point, this one is like it's really important, but I did not mention it early on because not many people would go by it. About the character creation. So, of course, it is up to each and everyone to have their own character, but since, let's agree, we all enter Project Zomboid, we die at least a couple of times until we learn how to survive. So early on, I would recommend going for a strong character, either that or a nimble and a sneaky character. So either you go for a strong character in order to have a higher damage with blunt weapons and like a higher knockback and a higher chance to knock the enemy down, or just go with a sneaky character. This is to avoid combat in general, like either a strong character in order to help you with combat, or a sneaky character to avoid combat overall.